Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining me on my slightly delayed live video. I had intended to go live this morning around 10 a.m. It is now 6:30 p.m. So that just shows you how my day was going. Nothing bad, it just got crazy. We ended up having a contractor come by, take care of some landscaping issues we were having, and that took about twice as long as I thought it was going to take. So I kept thinking I was going to get to the live and then just didn't. Then I taught a class this afternoon, so I just finished cleaning up from teaching the class, and now I am here. I'm just making sure things are set up right, making sure it's actually live. I don't see it on my my laptop yet, so I'm just waiting to see. There we go. It's picked up. Okay. So I am live. So if you're watching, be sure to comment and let's say hello. Let me know you're watching. If you watch on the replay, then just comment. Let me know you watched on the replay. So what I'm going to show you today is I'm going to make some cards using this Notes of Spring stamp set. It's a 2-step stamp set, which is one of my favorites. It's always been one of my favorites. And basically what that means is for all the different images, there's 2 stamps that actually create that image. So for example, this bunny right here has the outline and then also has where you shade it in. So you use 2 different stamps. You can use 2 different inks. You can use the same ink. There's a lot of different things you can do. I'm going to show you how we use them, but it basically colors it for you, basically. So we have it for the bunny. We have the 2-step for the duck, for the deer, and also for this little like floral piece. And then there's actually for the weeds or the grasses. You on one of the cards or a couple cards we'll actually use the shading on those as well. So every one of them except for the words has like a 2-step. So this is the stamp set we're going to use, and I am going to just do first I'm just going to show you the cards we're going to make. So this is the first one we're going to make using the deer. What I like about this stamp set is, honestly, I think with the right designer paper you can turn these cards into masculine cards. Like, I think this one's very masculine. You know, I hear a lot from people that we sell a lot of floral type supplies, and it's hard sometimes to make masculine cards. So that was the first one. And then we have this one, which has the cute little duck. Just a little note of thanks. Then we have happiest birthday wishes, where we're going to use all 3 of them. I'm going to show you a little technique on this called masking. And then this one, I think this one's my favorite, so we're going to do it last because I believe it is my favorite. So I'm going to set those aside and we're going to jump in. Again, if you're watching, say hi. Let me know you're watching. I am offering a special. You can get a free card kit with the cards I'm making today, and it's 8 cards total, so you'll make 2 of each card. You get all the supplies to make 2 of each card that I'm going to show you today. And you will get the Notes of Spring stamp set. And you get a full package of the embellishments. Sorry for the halo. These are called Natural Matte Dots. And there's actually 4 different colors. There's the white, the navy, the olive, and the crumb cake. So you get a full pack of that as well. So if you take advantage of my special, you get a full pack of the embellishments, you get the stamp set, which has 15 stamps in it, and you get the card kit to make 2 of each of all 4 of the cards, so 8 cards total with the envelopes. In order to take advantage of that, you just need to email me a $75 order, and I'll work with you on getting that order placed. The order itself will ship directly to you, and then I will ship your card kit and your embellishments to you separately. The stamp set will come with your original order. So I'm gonna set this aside and we're gonna jump right in. And I've got all of my supplies here ready to go. Bring my scissors and stuff a little closer. So that just so you know what colors we're going to use today on the cards, I will go ahead and just put them into the view for a minute here. And hopefully you can read that. But it is Pool Party, Soft Seafoam, Daffodil Delight, Azure Afternoon, Old Olive, Pecan or Pecan Pie, however you say it, and Gray Granite. So those are the colors we're going to use on the cards. If you don't have those exact colors, you can change it up. You can use whatever colors you have on hand. So let's get started. We're gonna start with the stamping first. So I'm gonna pull out the pieces that we need to stamp, and I have a round circle. That was kind of obvious. I have a circle that I have punched out using the Stylish Shapes dies, one of my favorite dies. And I also have a piece of designer paper that is 4 inches by 5 1/4. And I'm going to get out my foam mat, because we're going to do some stamping on both. We'll start with the stamping of the deer. See if that's in the, just trying to make sure I've got everything in the view for you. So let me find the deer. So like I said, this is a 2-step stamp. So we've got the deer, the outline deer, and then we have the shaded part of the deer. And for this, we are using the Pecan Pie. And I'm going to start by stamping the outline of the deer. And we're going to center it, but we want it raised up just a little bit because we're going to put words underneath it. And then to color in the inside of the deer, we are using the shaded stamp, and we're going to ink it up. And then we're going to do a technique called Stampin' Off. So I'm going to take the inked image on some scratch paper, and I'm going to just stamp it off, set that aside, and then come in and stamp the deer. And what that does is it gives us 2 different tones of the same color. This is great. If you don't have a large selection of colors, this is a great way to get different colors of any color, brown, green, whatever color, by using the same ink pad. You just stamp it off and you get different colors with it. So then we're going to get out the Gray Granite, and we're going to stamp the words. And on this one, we're doing especially for you. We're going to just ink that up. Oh, this one's a little harder for me to see because the camera's right in my way. And you notice I'm stamping on my foam mat because I always stamp on my foam mat. We're going to set that aside, and then we're going to start stamping on the designer paper. This is something I don't do often, but probably should do more of. And today I'm going to do it on more than one card because I just really like how it looks. So we're going to use the grasses, so you can kind of see that I'm coming in with the grasses, and we're going to stamp off on these as well so that we get different shades of the Gray Granite. So we're going to start with the large grass, and this all might be the large grass. No, I think I used the little one too. Okay. And I'm just going to come in and stamp this first one in the corner. And then I'm going to just move it over a little, stamp it again. It just gives you a lighter color. We're going to go over and do the same thing on the other side. Stamp it once, stamp it a second time. I think we're going to use the same one for all of this. So then I'm going to come in and I'm going to stamp this, the full amount. I'm going to ink it up, and I'm going to stamp full amount again over here. And I might come back in and add a little bit more. I'm going to stamp off a little bit and just add a little bit more to that. Because it's such a light color, it's not showing up as much on the designer paper. There we go. So there you can see how I've got a couple different tones of that same color. All right, I'm going to sit back down and we're ready to assemble this card. So I have I took a piece of black cardstock, cut it in half, scored it in half to get my card base. I'm going to get out my bone folder and just give that a good score. For the inside, I have a piece of white cardstock, and I'm just going to add some adhesive. And as always, we're just adding 5 drops of glue, 1 in each corner, 1 in the middle. It's really all you need. It will not come apart. I'm going to set that card base aside for a minute while we do some layering over here. So we're going to take our designer paper, we're going to layer it. This is the other side of the designer paper. We're going to layer it on our gray granite cardstock. That is going to be just 1/8 of an inch larger than the designer paper. Again, just 4 dots in the corner and 1 in the middle. And then we want to add some twine, and this is some gray twine. And to add the twine, I'm actually going to use our Stampin' Seal, and I'm just going to add some adhesive on the back side of the mat so that I can gently adhere on the back side. I'm just adhering that so that I can wrap it around. And then we're going to adhere the other end to the other side. And then you can kind of go back and adjust them to get them where you want them. All right, now we're ready to add that to our card base by just 5 dots of glue again, 1 in the middle, 1 in each corner, 1 in the middle. We're going to add that to our black cardstock base. For the deer, I'm actually going to use some dimensionals. And we're going to just put the dimensionals on the top and the bottom of the deer piece because the twine is going to go through here. So we don't want to put any dimensionals there because it'll just get in the way of the twine. There we go. We're just going to add our deer onto the front. And then, last but not least, we're going to add our embellishments. My 2 favorite things to add to any card that I make. Does anybody know before I answer the question? Anybody have any idea what that might be? 1, dimensionals. Love using dimensionals on cards. The second, embellishments or bling, whatever you want to call them. Oops. They're called embellishments, but sometimes I just call them bling to make it easy. So I'm going to use my Take Your Pick tool. I'm going to get a large one, and I'm just using the dark blue because I think it goes well with the colors of the card and with the cardstock being the black. I think it just works together. And there we go. That is the finished deer card. Let me set those aside. And we'll get ready for the next card. So the next card we're going to make is going to be the duck card. The little note of thanks. Isn't he cute? He's so cute. And let me go ahead and get out the pieces we need. Again, I have a circle from the Stylish Shapes dies. I've got a piece of white cardstock that's going to be for our banner. And I have another piece of designer paper. And we are going to do some stamping on the designer paper. So let's set this aside, get out my foam mat. It's time to stamp. And let's get out some colors. So for this one, I need Old Olive, Pool Party, Daffodil, and Azure. So these are our 4 colors. So let's start with the duck, because we're going to just stamp the duck on our circle using the Daffodil Delight. And we're going to start with our outline of our duck. On this one, we're just kind of centering them on the circle. I love the Stylish Shape dies. You know, there's all different sizes of the circles, which is really nice. Okay, and then let's bring in my scrap paper because we're going to do the same thing with the duck here. We're going to ink him up, and we're going to stamp him on our scratch paper. Then we're going to come in and stamp them on our duck. There we go. There's our duck. We're done with the daffodil. Next color we need is going to be our Pool Party. We'll go ahead and do the words. We are using A Little Note of Thanks. That's not it. What? Oh, still I don't have it on a block yet. Hold on. Thought I had them all on a block. So since I don't have them on a block, I'll show you how I put them on my blocks. I put my stamp face down as such, and I'm just trying to find a stamp. We'll use this one, sorry. I'm going to use this block, and I'm going to put my block on top of it, and that is how I put my stamps onto my block. Some people will put them on this way. They'll just layer them on here. I don't like to do it that way because it's really easy when you're putting them on this way. You could turn it and see how now that is crooked. So by laying it down upside down so that you can see the words on your table and then putting your block on top of it, you keep it nice and straight as it's intended to be. So we're going to ink that up with some Pool Party. And we're going to stamp it not too close to the edge because we're going to come in and do a little banner edge on this. It's all right. I'm gonna do it again. I got it a little crooked. It's really hard to see like through the camera. I'm looking like through the phone right now, through the camera on the phone, to do this part of the stamping. It's a little challenging. That's better. That'll work. Okay. We'll set that aside until we're ready to do the banner. And then we have our designer paper. And what we're going to do is, based on the sample, you can kind of see that I have this piece of Pool Party cardstock that kind of goes across here. So we're just going to temporarily like set that in place for a second, because it's just going to provide a little guideline for us. And we're going to get out the Azure Afternoon. And I need to do a quick clean on the grass because we used it on the first card, so I need to clean it. And this paper is here. It's just to give me an idea of where I'm starting. I'm actually going to move this over a little bit so my ink pad doesn't fall off here. But we're going to ink that up with the Azure Afternoon. And you can kind of see that this first one I kind of have somewhere in this area. And basically that's just there so I get an idea. I'm going to move it out of the way. I don't need it now. I kind of have an idea of where I'm working. We're going to ink it up again. We're going to add another one. And then we're going to add a third one over here. Then I need the smaller one. Yep. And some old olive. This grass stamp is just a little bit smaller than the other one. We're going to use the old olive. And we're going to add some green over here. And some green over here. And that's all we need to add because the rest of this is going to be covered by the duck. So we'll close this up. And we are ready to assemble. So we are going to start. I have a piece of old olive cardstock that is 1/8 of an inch larger than my designer paper, which is 4 by 5 1/4. And we're going to adhere that. Again, with our 4 dots of glue in the corner, 1 in the middle. If you're watching, make sure you say hi below. If you want some information on how you can get this card kit, the stamp set, and a pack of embellishments for free, comment below that you'd like some more information, and I'll send you an email when I'm finished. So I've got a piece of white cardstock that I have cut in half, scored in half. This is our thick white cardstock, and this is going to be a standing up card. So we're going to just add our mat to the front of the card. And I've got this strip of Pool Party, and I'm going to come in and just cut. This just gives it a little more interest than it just being a kind of a boring rectangle piece. So we're going to add that onto the front. Just do a little strip of glue on that one. Hopefully it's nice and straight. And then we're going to take the words that we stamped. We're going to use the ones that were straighter. And I'm going to just create a banner edge on each end. So start by trimming it down a little, but to create my banner edge, I like to just come in through the middle. And then I come in from each side to create the banner. This is great if you don't have a die that has a banner like this, or if the one that you have is not the right size for the stamp set that you're using, which I believe was the case because the Stylish Shapes actually has banner dies, but I believe that I didn't like the way the sizes lined up with the words, so I created my own banner instead. So we're ready to add the duck. We're going to use some dimensionals. A neat trick, I've been doing this so long I can just pull them off easily. But if you have trouble trying to get them off, you can take your fingernail and push it into the middle like that and it automatically pops up the edges. You also can use your take your pick tool and kind of do the same thing. I just use my fingernails because, like I said, I've just been doing it for so long and I find it pretty easy to do. And then we're going to just add our duck. We don't want to cover up all of the pretty stamping we did in the background. And then we're going to add our words, and for the words we need a dimensional on the left side of the words. On the right side of the words we just need a little drop of glue because it's going to be sitting on the raised duck already, so it doesn't need a dimensional on that side. but we do want it to stick. And the last piece of this card, again, with the embellishments, this time we're going to use the Old Olive. They might be Mossy Mellow, actually. I'm looking at them, but either way, they work with this card. So we're like, oh my God. Okay, it's just not cooperating with me today. We're going to, probably because I'm trying to go too fast. I should just slow down. There's no rush. All right, so we're adding 3 of the embellishments to the front of the duck card. So there we go. That's card number 2. Card number 3 is this Happiest Birthday Wishes. And I'm gonna teach you a technique called masking for this card. Getting all my pieces out here. So for this card, let's see, where can I put him where you can still see him? We are using a piece of white cardstock that is, if I remember correctly, it is 3 3/4 by 5. So it's just slightly smaller than the inside cardstock mat would be. And we're going to stamp some of these images across here. But what I want to do is kind of give myself a little direction on where I'm going. So I'm going to just set that in place. I'm not adhering it. And the first thing I want to do is I actually want to stamp my animals first. So we're going to get out the pecan pie so that we can ink up the deer, starting with the outline. And we're going to do just what we did before. Actually, sorry, I'll start with the deer. It's fine. I was going to start with the duck. It's probably easier to start with the duck, but I'm just going to start with the deer. So we're going to add the deer. We're going to get the inside of the deer. We're going to ink it up, and we are, again, going to stamp it off. So we get a little lighter color of the pecan pie. So there's our deer. Then we'll do the duck. So we need the Daffodil Delight for the duck, which is of course on the bottom of my stack of ink pads here. So we got our Daffodil Delight. We want to stamp the duck outline first. And he's just going right next to the deer. And then we want the other stamp, the one that colors in the duck. We're going to stamp it off. And then we're going to color in our duck. Now you could, if you want, you could actually color these images. If you wanted to, you could stamp them with our black Memento ink. And you could use our blends and you could color them in. But that is the beauty of a 2-step stamp, is that it's so quick and easy to color in your images. All right, now we need, I didn't need Old Olive yet. I need the gray granite for the bunny. How cute is this little bunny? This little bunny is so cute. So we're going to ink up the outline of the bunny. And put him next to the duck. And then we've got the coloring portion of the bunny. We're going to stamp him off. Again, we're using gray granite for this one. And then fill in the bunny. We're going to color him by quickly stamping him. So we've done that now. Now for the masking part of this, and this is the technique I'm going to show you. So we want it to look like the animals are laying in the grass, but you don't want to stamp like the grass over the animals, because like you want it to look like the animals are at the forefront. And So we're using the old olive. Trying to find, here we go. I'm trying to remember if I stamped off or not. So let me just check here. No, I think I did full ink. So for the first one, well, I might need to cover them. I'm just going to go ahead and get out. So what I have done is I have stamped all 3 of the animals on scrap paper. And then I have just roughly cut them out around there. This is going to be my mask. And I'm going to take some washi tape. And I'm going to set the mask. Basically, you're just setting it over top of the duck. And just gently tack that down. I do the same thing with the bunny. And then also with the deer. If you do not have cheap washi tape at your disposal, you should definitely get some, because I use it on my cut and emboss machine, and I use it for stuff like this. It's just a handy little tool, and it doesn't have to cost a lot of money. You just get it wherever you can find it. So then now we're ready to go in with this large grass over here. And I'm actually going to move this out of the way because I don't want to get it on here. Actually, take that back. I'm going to flip it over. I'm going to leave it, but I'm going to flip it over because this is the back side. Now you could use this side too. I think it would be pretty with this side, but I really like the pink. So we're just going to come in and we're going to stamp. And we just need one of the large grass. And then we're going to come in with the smaller grass. Maybe I did stamp these off at my first card. And we're going to add the smaller grass here. And we're going to add a smaller grass here. And we're going over the bunny. Oops. Try again. I'll line that back up again. There we go. We're going to leave the bunny on there for now. And then we have these little, the second half of the 2-step stamping that goes with the grasses. And for these, I'm going to stamp them off. I think I should have stamped my grass off, but I didn't, and that's okay. But these, I'm going to definitely stamp them off. So I'm going to ink it up, stamp it off, and then I'm going to come in and go over top of both of the animals. I'm going to do the same thing on this side. I'm going to do the same thing over here on this grass with the small one. And then I'm going to use the larger grass one, stamp it off, and come in and just add that across the bottom here. And that gives you the grass and, sorry, I'm having issues here with my computer. There we go. All right. So then we can take off our masks. And you can see that none of the grass got on the animals, but it does look like the grass is coming up like behind the bunny's tail, and it just kind of looks like they're sitting in the grass. So that's just a neat little technique. Now we just need to stamp the words. We're using the happiest birthday wishes, and we're using the pecan pie. I'm gonna stamp that. I'm gonna stand up so I can try to see a little bit better what I'm doing. There we go. So our stamping is done for this card. So the next step is going to be to assemble. So I've got a piece of soft seafoam. that I have cut a piece of cardstock in half, scored it in half. I'm going to use my bone folder to give it a good crease. I have a piece of white cardstock that goes on the inside. We're going to just do our 5 dots of glue, 1 in each corner, 1 in the middle. That's just for the inside so that you can write on it. Now this color is light enough that you don't necessarily have to put that in there, but I just like it. I just feel like it finishes it off. And we're gonna add our designer paper strip of paper here. Actually, we're not gonna add that yet. We're gonna add this to the front of the card, but I am using dimensionals on this. So let's go ahead and get out some dimensionals. I like doing this versus just putting it flat on the card because it just feels like it just gives it just a little bit more height to the card. Just makes it, just gives it a little bit more oomph for some reason. So we're gonna add that. Now we're gonna add our strip of designer paper. Just gonna put some glue there. And we're just lining this up kind of across the bottom of that grass line that we created. But it's the same size as the cardstock base, so it also is going to line up on each side. And last but not least, we're going to add a couple of the white embellishments. And you get a whole pack of these embellishments if you get the free card kit from me. So you can add as many or as little as you like to your cards. There we go. That is card number 3. I mean, how cute are the animals? They're so cute. The last card, also adorable. We are using, so I'm just gonna go ahead and grab some of the ink that we need. It looks like we need Pool Party, Old Olive, Pecan Pie, and Gray Granite. And so let's start with the stamping of the animals and the words. All right. Hi, Amy. Thanks for watching. I haven't quite figured out how I can actually type hello to you, but I can say hello to you. All right. Oops. I need the birthday first. Let's do the pecan pie. And let's come in with the happy birthday. And hope that I got that centered. Oh, that's terrible. Sorry. It's really hard. Maybe someday I'll figure out how to set this up so that I can see what I'm doing better, because it's actually really hard to see what I'm trying to do here. Because of my setup that has my phone, which has got my camera, we're going with it, is right in my view when I try to look down on it, and I haven't just quite figured out the best way to do it yet. I keep experimenting, and someday I will find how everything should work. So we're going to stamp the deer in pecan pie. We're going to do the image, the outline, I mean. And then we're going to come in and stamp off so we get a lighter color. And go ahead and get our deer colored. And then we need to do a bunny. And for the bunny, we're using gray granite. Where's my bunny? Here he is. All right, start with the bunny outline. And then we'll ink it up again for the coloring of the bunny, but we will stamp it off. So we get the lighter color for the shading on the inside of the bunny. All right, we are done with the gray granite. So I'm going to set that aside for a minute so we can do the rest of the stamping. So the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna actually stamp this background pattern. So I have a piece of white cardstock, and this time we're using this, it's kind of like a floral pattern. It actually looks like it has little hearts in there and leaves. And then it has the corresponding stamp, two-step stamp that goes with it to kind of shade the inside. So we are using Pool Party for this. I'm trying to figure out here. Trying to keep everything in frame for you. So, all right, we're gonna ink that up, and we're just gonna start by putting one, you know, where we want it. So we'll just kind of start here in the middle, and we're gonna then just kind of randomly add to it. And it's okay if you stamp on your foam mat. Sometimes I'll put something down on there to protect it, but I'm okay today just letting it ride. And the key here is you're trying to make this look random, but yet you want to make sure you fill some of the spaces because you don't want to have a lot of white space showing. Looks like I came in and did one there, and a little extra up here. All right, so that is with the outline stamp. And now for the other stamp, the coloring stamp. Move the card out of the way for a minute because this one I'm gonna stamp off. So we get just a little lighter color, and there's really not a lot of lining up on this one. So you can kind of hear that I'm stamping it off every time. Ink it up, stamp it off, get that lighter color of the Pool Party. And this one is just great because it's not meant to line up perfectly. So you just don't have to like stress about it. I don't remember if I did that one or not, so we'll do it again if I didn't. Oh, there's one over here. All right. So that is how you fill those in. And it's just nice. You just created your own designer paper, basically. I was just reading your comment, Amy. So are you not seeing it in the right direction? Like, I feel like I have it in the correct direction, but maybe I don't. Maybe you'll have to text me and tell me if I should be doing it a different way. So we're almost ready to assemble. We're going to start by, this does not have any kind of coordinating dies. So we are going to fussy cut our two animals. Now, are you team fussy cut or team I don't like to fussy cut? I like to fussy cut. I don't know, for some reason, to me, it's therapeutic. And it just kind of solves that problem when there's not a matching die, but you want to cut it out. Some things I don't like to fussy cut. I should probably clarify that. Some things are too hard to fussy cut, but these are pretty easy. The key is to let the scissors do the work for you. And I just try to keep a little bit of extra white around the image. You know, if you really didn't want to cut this out, you could stamp it directly on the cardstock. You could stamp it on another piece of cardstock and just not cut it out. But honestly, it doesn't take very long to do this, especially once you kind of get used to it. Because you're just really letting the scissors and your other hand do all the work. Because by turning the paper with your other hand, it just makes it pretty easy to come in here and cut. But I know that fussy cutting can be a polarizing thing. There are people that love it. There are people that absolutely hate doing it. I don't know. Sometimes I think it's fun if I'm working on like swaps, or if I'm trying to make a bunch of the same card, maybe Christmas cards, and I've got something I'm fussy cutting. I can sit in front of TV and just cut out my images while I'm watching some TV at night. All right, so there we go. So that didn't take very long at all. Now we are ready for assembly. So we've got a piece of crumb cake cardstock that I've cut in half, scored in half. Use the bone folder and give it a good crease. Amy, this set is really cute. You can get it for free from me. You can get the whole card kit, the embellishments, and the stamp set free from me with a $75 order. So if you're interested, let me know. So we're going to add the white cardstock on the inside of our crumb cake card base. 5 dots of glue. I feel like a broken record every time I say that, but I'm hoping eventually it will sink in that you don't need a lot of glue in order to make these cards stick together. And what I mean, I'll show you what I mean. So I do know people that just feel like if they don't cover this with glue, it's not going to stick. So there are people that will come in here and they feel like they need to just add a bunch of glue like that. But you just really don't have to. And this will last you such a long time if you just use the minimum amount. This will stick just as well, but you're just using a lot of glue. I like to make my glue last. And as many cards as I make, this little bottle of glue actually lasts me a really long time. All right, so then we're ready to add. I've got a piece of crumb cake that we're going to add across here. I don't know why I put my glue away. That was silly. And for this one, we're just going to add a little strip of glue. The key here is you just kind of want to make sure you get it straight when you put it on, which is sometimes challenging when you have other patterns on there. And for the words, I'm just going to come in with my scissors and cut off the edge. So we've got that ready to go. Now I have cut out, oh, I'm not done stamping. Oh my gosh, I missed a spot. I missed a part. But I'll show you this first. I've cut out these leaves out of soft seafoam green, and it's from one of our online exclusives right now that's called Delicate Wishes. And there's the stamp set, and then there's the matching dies, and the back side I can kind of show you. So this is the die that we're using here, where we're cutting that out. Sometimes I just, like, I use our dies on with other sets, because like it's having leaves that you can use on different sets is so helpful. So this, I'm trying to be careful. You don't want to get a lot of glue because you don't want the glue to seep out, because then it's kind of sticky. So we're just adding a few little dots of glue on the back side of this, and we're going to put that in place. And then we're going to set it aside because I have one more stamping piece to do that I missed. So I'm going to get out some more scrap white paper and my foam mat. And we're going to stamp the tall green grass using Old Olive. Hoping this piece is big enough. So we've got our Old Olive. We're going to stamp that. And then Sorry, I got OCD when it comes to my ink pads. I love to close them as soon as I'm done with them. I just don't like them sitting out open because I don't want them to dry out. We're going to fussy cut this image as well. So we'll come in real fast and again, like you're not trying to get super close to the edges. It's not about creating super fine detail with it. It's just about cutting a rough outline around the image. You can get as detailed as you want or as little detail as you want. It is totally up to you. There we go. Our grass is cut. Now we're ready to finish with the assembly process. So we are going to add a little bit of glue to the back of the grass and layer it next to the leaves that we just put on here. And we're going to add our deer. Aren't these deer so cute? Oh my God. I love the deer. I love the bunny. So the deer's little bottom is going to cover up the bottom half of that grass. And then we're going to add the bunny. And he kind of overlaps like he's sitting in front of the deer. All right. Next, we've got some twine. And I have 2 pieces. So we're going to start with the trick. If you don't have our Stampin' Seal or what used to be called snail, you may still have some of the old snail. You can also use double-sided tape for this. But I'm just going to come in, put 2 strips of our Stampin' Seal on the back. You can actually use that adhesive to put all your layers together as well. But I like using the glue. I think it's faster and in the long run, I think it's cheaper. Just my opinion. So this we're gonna come around and stick that one edge, the one end of it on the back side. And then we're looking to, it's very sticky, just if you haven't used our Stampin' Seal, it's very sticky. And then we're gonna bring this around and adhere that as well. We're going to go ahead to make this easier to work with, put this on our card base, and then we will finish up the card. We're just adding our 5 dots of glue. Putting it on our card base. Probably should have checked to make sure I have the card opening in the right direction before I put it on. I do. Okay. And this is another card that stands up. So we've got that. We're going to add our happiest birthday wishes, and we're going to put dimensionals just along the bottom here. And I want like a strip of dimensionals versus the big hexagon shaped. So I'm actually going to come in and use the edging from our dimensional sheets. I like to use every bit of the dimensionals. I don't like to waste any of it. So we're going to use that edging. Make sure I'm on the bottom here. And then we're going to just put a little bit of glue on the top part. So the top part of this tag with the words is going to be above the twine. The bottom part is below the twine. That's why we're using the dimensionals down there. And it'll adhere to the deer and the bunny. Now I've got another piece of twine, and if you get the card kit from me, is the seal the same as the snail? Yes, Amy, it is. It is the same. It's just it's better, actually. It's better than the snail, in my opinion. It's kind of like our upgraded version of the snail, but it is the same thing. I like the seal a lot better. We actually have Seal Plus, which is an even stronger hold. And I don't love that unless it's for like a 3D project or something. But for cards and scrapbooking, I like the regular Stampin' Seal. So if you get the card kit, your bows for this card will be tied already for you. So instead of having like one long piece of twine that we wrapped around and then tied the bow, I do it a little differently. I do the bow separate. So we wrap the twine first, then I'm going to create the bow. One thing I've learned over the years is that the bows are very polarizing as well. Some people hate trying to tie them. Some make it like a mission to figure out how to do it. And others just prefer that I do it. So we're going to trim off the edges. And then you're going to use a mini glue dot to adhere the bow. So we're going to just come in with our roll of mini glue dots. And it's probably really hard to see, but there's this tiny little round glue dot on here that I'm going to stick my bow on it. And then I'm going to peel it all off. And now my bow has adhesive behind it. And I'm going to just set that on here so it looks like I wrapped the twine around and tied a bow, but I didn't. I did it a much easier way. One last thing to add will be the embellishments. Again, you get a full pack of these. These are the natural matte dots. And we are using the crumb cake, so we're going to use a large one. This is the take your pick tool that is just not cooperating with me today, only because I'm live. We're going to do a large dot there. We're going to do a small dot up here, and one more small dot up here by the bunny. Again, you get a full pack, so you can add as many as you want. These are really nice because instead of being like, that was good. Instead of being rounded on top, they're actually flat. So they still raise up a little bit, but they're still very flat, which is really nice. I actually really like the flat ones a lot. All right, so that is it. That is the fourth card. So to recap, we used the Notes of Spring stamp set. And I'll go back through all the cards. If you want to take advantage of my free card kit, you're going to get all the supplies you need to make 2 of each of the cards that I just demonstrated. I don't know if I can get them all in the picture here, so we'll try it though. So your card kit's going to come with all the pre-cut supplies so that you can make that. It's going to come with the stamp set. It's going to come with a full pack of the embellishments. It'll come with the instructions so that you know what you're doing. And I believe that's it. Oh, and envelopes. You'll get 8 envelopes with it as well. So thanks for watching. Thanks, Amy, for the questions. And I'll see you next time.